Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Washington County Board of Education. I call this meeting to order and declare a quorum. We have all board members present this evening, along with our student board member. It is my pleasure to do something a little different this evening. We have two students here this evening to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. We have two fifth grade students from Old Forge Elementary, Kyrie Burton and Maddox Kulsoneman. Did I say that right? Oh, good for me. Yeah. So these two gentlemen, we're happy to have them here. They're going to come forward, and we're all going to stand, have the pledge followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So Maddox, since you're closest to the microphone, my notes tell me that you're a mentor, a student mentor.
Yes, I am.
And is Kyrie your mentee?
Yes, I do go and help his class a lot.
Yeah, and you're good friends, I can tell.
Yes, of course.
So Maddox, do you have a favorite subject in school?
I always like math.
Oh, look back there. There's a gentleman who thinks that's great. Tell me you like to read too.
Oh yeah, I do like to read.
Okay, that's great, great. And when you're not in school, when you're not at Old Forge, what kinds of things do you like to do?
I play baseball and I play basketball.
Oh, awesome. Are you good at both?
I'd say so.
Do you have fun at both?
Of course, yes.
Okay, that's what's important. Well, Maddox, we thank you for being here. We'll talk to Kyrie next. Kyrie, hello.
Hello.
How are things at Old Forge in fifth grade?
Good.
Do you have a favorite subject there?
What is a subject?
What you study in school? Do you have a favorite class?
Reading.
Reading. Oh,
That's good.
that's awesome. I love to read. I love to read. And Maddox is a special friend for you, I can tell.
Yes.
All right. And when you're not at Old Forge, do you have some favorite things that you like to do?
TV.
TV. Do you have a favorite show?
Netflix.
Netflix. I'm a Netflix fan too, so I'm with you on that. Maddox, Kyrie, do you have anyone here that you would like to introduce to us this evening? Someone that came with you?
So this is my brother Miles, and that's my mom Julia.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Miles, for being here with Maddox. Kyrie, do you have someone you'd like to introduce?
My mother. My brothers. Tari and Tamar.
Oh. They are just as cute as can be. Thank you for bringing them along. Well, boys, thank you for being here with us this evening. Good luck to you in your days ahead at Old Forge, and before long you'll be off to middle school, I guess, come fall, huh? Yeah. How exciting is that? Well, all the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you, you too.
At this time, we'll have approval of this evening's agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Is there a second?
Second.
Meyer? Any discussion?
All
All those in favor of approval? We have a unanimous vote, so we have an approved agenda. This time we'll have approval of the minutes.
President Williams, I move for the approval of the closed session minutes dated Tuesday, April 4th, 2023.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. All those in favor of approval of the closed session minutes dated April 4th, 2023? Okay, we have 6 affirmative and 1 abstention.
Yep.
Thank you.
President Williams, I move for the approval of the business meeting minutes dated Tuesday, April 4th, 2023.
Murray, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Are there any additions or corrections to the business meeting minutes dated April 4th, 2023? Okay, then we'll move to the vote. All those in favor of approval?
Abstention.
1 abstention. So we have 6 affirmative and 1 abstention. Thank you, Mr. Guessford. So we have 2 sets of approved minutes. Thank you, colleagues. We'll move now to the superintendent's report, and we will continue his report after new business. Dr. Sovine.
Thank you, President Williams, members of the board. I'm excited to begin this evening with an extraordinary accomplishment for some of our educators in front here. We're joined by 6 teachers who have achieved National Board Certification, the highest professional certification in teaching. At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Kara Burhans, our Strategic Initiative Coordinator, forward to share a little bit more about this honor and introduce us to our teachers.
Good evening, President Williams, members of the board, and Dr. Sovine. National Board Certification is a voluntary advanced teaching credential designed to develop, retain, and recognize accomplished teachers who support ongoing improvement in schools nationwide. National Board Certification is aligned with national standards for what accomplished teachers should know and be able to do. The National Board for Professional Teaching Standards certifies teachers who successfully complete its rigorous certification process. To attain certification, candidates must demonstrate the following: a deep understanding of the students they are teaching and how each student learns, ongoing reflective teaching practice rich in content knowledge, management and monitoring of student learning through the use of data and assessments, systematic thinking and reflection on teaching practice, continued participation in professional learning opportunities. Washington County Public Schools is committed to continued growth of this program and honored this evening to recognize the following teachers for attaining National Board Certification. Marjorie Chapman, Boyd J. Michael III Technical High School. Amy Kelly, Clear Spring High School. Nicole Potter, Boyd J. Michael III Technical High School. Nicole Rhodes, Lincolnshire Elementary School. Angela Stauffer, Smithsburg High School. And Catherine Thomas, Clear Spring High School. Please join me in congratulating them on this outstanding achievement.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. We also have some student guests in attendance this evening for incredible accomplishments in the field of study. We'll start with a recognition for our students who earned state championship titles at the Future Health Professional State Leadership Conference. I'll now turn it over to James Alshire, our Supervisor of Career and Technical Education.
Good evening, President Williams and members of the Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. David Savine. Tonight we have some outstanding CTE students and CTE advisors joining us to be recognized for their accomplishments. I'd like to take this time to thank our CTE students and teachers who had students compete at the local, state, and national competitions. Also, I'd like to recognize 4 of our students being recognized this evening that are part of our apprenticeship program. They're Christian Loon, Riley Burns, Lance Litzenberger, and Liberty Fenton. I'd first like to introduce Miss Elizabeth McDonald, the HOSA advisor at the Boyd J. Michael III Technical High School, and Miss Ashley Doyle, the HOSA co-sponsor. HOSA is the Future Health Professionals, formerly known as Health Occupation Students of America, is an international career and technical student organization endorsed by the U.S. Department of Education and the Health Science Technology Education Division of ACTE. The students were awarded first place at the state competition. Ms. McDonald and Ms. Doyle, I invite you to introduce your students and then be recognized as a group for a photo with our Superintendent and Board of Education.
We are so proud to introduce you to the HOSA Gold Medalists. First off, earning a gold medal in clinical laboratory science is Marissa Bailey.
Second, we have earning a gold medal in forensic science, Jordan Marquis and Caitlin Yates.
Earning a Maryland Gold Medal in health career photography is Liberty Fenton.
With a gold medal in medical assisting, we have Mariama Cham.
And earning a gold medal in veterinary science, Landon Wheeler.
Get in front so you can see.
Right here in between.
Is that all right?
You're on the right.
All right, good smiles here on 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more for good measure. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
I would now like to introduce Ms. Nicole Potter, co-advisor of the Skills USA team at the Boyd J. Michael III Technical High School, to recognize their gold medalists.
Exciting news, exciting news. We would like to honor our Skills USA medalists. These are all gold medal winners. And first is Crime Scene Investigation, Chloe Mills. Haley Weaver. And Amanda Nave.
Give her one. You can split. Well, there's 2. She investigated it.
In electrical construction and wiring, Christian Lund. Our community action project students, Diana Jimenez and Oakley Kendall. In early childhood education, Riley Burns. and Career Pathways and Showcase, Aiden Wood. Jack Nelson. And Lance Linsenberger. We would like to congratulate and thank all of you that celebrated our students. We're so proud of them. Our teachers, Mr. Kurt Wood, Ms. Marjorie Chapman, Ms. Ashley Doyle, Ms. Beth McDonald, our principal. We are so excited Mr. Syke is here to celebrate with us. I don't think I missed anyone else that is here. Oh, I'm so sorry. He's standing there so dapper as well. Mr. Swan, our outstanding teachers. Without them, we could not make this possible with these outstanding students. So thank you, and I appreciate your time.
Finally, I'd like to introduce Ms. Marcia Seacrest, Skills USA Co-Advisor and Interactive Media Production Teacher at North Hagerstown High School, to introduce their gold medalist. It should be noted that this was the first year that any students or CTE teachers from North Hagerstown High School competed in Skills USA. Ms. Seacrest, would you please introduce your gold medalist?
I'd like to introduce Tim Ramsey. Tim Ramsey is a senior at North High, and he is an interactive media production student, and he is certified in Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator.
Okay, everyone should stand in a window, okay?
I think I'm tall enough.
Hey, why don't you come over on the other side of
Oh, I switched with her.
Mr. Evans, if I can accept your right. There we go.
I know that.
Take a shot here on 3. 1, 2, 3. And another 1, 2, 3. Let's see one done here. And 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Congratulations.
Congratulations. You've got enough to sit down yourself.
See, that wasn't my fault.
That's a lot of money. You got nice hair. A lot of hair.
Please.
Jam. Yeah. Want to buy him. Yeah. Well, they don't really use so. She's a mental student.
Dr. Sovine, thank you for that report, and we'll have additional information
You'll be begging.
following new business. So at this time, this is the portion of our meeting where we allow for public comment. Before we begin, I'd like to read from Board Policy KD regarding procedures at business meetings. Each person wishing to address the Board of Education is encouraged but not required to sign up prior to the meeting and may address any topic concerning Washington County Public Schools except personnel or student matters which clearly identify an individual or individuals. Each speaker may speak for up to 5 minutes. Mrs. Murray is our timekeeper. This time I have no one on the list of those who would have signed up in advance, so we'll open the floor. Is there anyone who would like to come forward and speak during public comment? This would be the time to come forward. Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. My name is Nancy Allen, and I'm a concerned citizen. I've had many students who have come through Washington County Public Schools, and in light of the most recent horrible accounts that have happened with some of the school shootings, I am curious to know how many school resource officers that we have in our public schools, and are they armed? And what measures is the Washington County Public Schools taking to ensure the safety of our students?
Thank you.
That's my one question. Would you be able to answer that, or?
We don't do dialogue or question and answer. There is an opportunity for board members to respond to public comment.
Okay.
We can certainly have a staff member talk with you afterwards to answer your question.
Okay, I have another question also.
Sure. Uh-huh.
I'd like to know, in our school budget that will be coming out pretty soon, is there money allocated for additional resource officers that would be armed so that we would have one for every school? I understand that we are needing to supplement the number that we currently have, and I would think as a county that should be a number one priority to ensure the safety of our students. So I was wondering when that would be coming out, and if there's money allocated to be sure that we have those officers in each and every school. And I do understand, I had a conversation with your communications director, and she told me that we do have student resource administrators or assistants that are coming into place that we are hiring. But I also understand that they are not armed, and they are there for mediation and try to, I guess, mitigate unruly situations as they occur. And I'm just wondering what we plan as a county to do to make sure that all of our students are safe in our schools.
Thank you, Mrs. Allen, for your question.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to come forward? Okay. We'll move now to board member response to public comment. Board members?
I will say that, I mean, we've had our own scares. I mean, I think it was even in the newspaper. I know over at Rock and Woods, Pittsburgh, there were some, can you hear? Sorry. I'll lean in, glare on my head on the TV there. Sorry, guys. But I know we've had some recent concerns over at Rockland Woods and at Smithsburg there, with some weapons and everything. I was going to save this to the end, but I actually heard from many people. Some people were concerned about the timing of the communication going out, especially after Rockland Woods. But I know that wasn't necessarily an easy piece of communication put out, but I will say that we had I personally had some really good feedback. I thought it was a very appropriate response, and a lot of the people that I've spoken to about it really, truly appreciated what you, Dr. Savine, and Aaron said. So while it was an absolutely horrible situation, to say the least, I do appreciate the response that you guys did have. I, too, am concerned. I honestly would love to see 2 armed police officers at every single school, because especially for some of our bigger schools, they can't be everywhere at every time. So I personally would like to see too. I know that we're struggling to, I mean, I know the county and the city are both struggling to fully staff their departments, and if the staff isn't there, it's not there. So I don't know how to mitigate that. Honestly, I will say that I personally would like to explore the idea of requiring kids to have clear book bags. I know it's not necessarily a good idea to have the government say what you can and cannot have, but I know my nephew up in Dallas, Pennsylvania is required to do that as a 6th grader, and honestly, that would have very likely prevented that young man over at, I'm guessing man, I don't know, over at Rockland Woods from being able to get the firearm into school to begin with. So I'm not saying that we should or we will. I would just like to explore the possibility, and that is definitely a concern of mine. So I really appreciate you, Miss Allen, bringing that up. It is something worth, we need to talk about it.
Anything else? Dr. Savine, would you like to address Mrs. Allen's questions?
Yes, thank you, President Williams, and also Mr. Evans and board members for the comments. And I just want to say, extend my appreciation to this board for making safety and security a priority for our schools. That is the top priority, and then that way we can provide strong learning environments and a culture where students are able to be at their very best. This board, mid-year, took action to enhance safety and security through securing or adding security assistance in our city middle schools and high schools. Also, the FY24 budget, a big portion of that budget continues to enhance our focus on safety and security in all of our schools, pre-K through 12. I'll just mention that we have a strong partnership with our local law enforcement, and we meet regularly, and we provide updates to this board pertaining to safety and security enhancements. And you've heard from Mr. Prue that in working with law enforcement, we do have a progressive plan in place based on the workforce to enhance our SRO presence in the future as well.
Dr. Savine, colleagues, any other comments? All right, we'll move to old business. Our first item of old business is the second reading of proposed changes to policy BCA, board organizational meeting. We have Mrs. Ram here to present.
Thank you, President Williams, members of the board, Dr. Savine. The Board of Education approved the first reading of proposed changes to policy BCA at its public business meeting on April 4th, 2023. The Policy Committee posted a notice on Board Docs and the school system's website seeking comments from the public on the proposed changes to the policy. No comments have been received. The committee is now recommending the Board of Education approve the second reading of proposed changes to policy BCA.
Thank you, Mrs. Ram. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve the second reading of proposed changes to policy BCA entitled Board Organizational Meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Any questions, any discussion? All right, then we'll move to the vote. We're voting to approve the second reading of proposed changes to policy BCA entitled Board Organizational Meeting. All those in favor? All right, we have a unanimous vote, and the student member concurs. Our next action item is another second reading. This is for proposed changes to policy JEC, early admission to pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, and first grade.
The Board of Education approved the first reading of proposed changes to policy JEC at its public business meeting on April 4th, 2023. The Policy Committee posted a notice on Board Docs and the school system's website seeking comments from the public on proposed changes to the policy. No comments were received. The committee is now recommending the Board of Education approve the second reading of proposed changes to policy JEC.
Thank you, Mrs. Ram. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve the second reading of proposed changes to policy JEC entitled Early Admission to Pre-Kindergarten, Kindergarten, and First Grade.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Is there a second? Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Any questions, any discussion? Move to the vote. We're voting to approve the second reading of proposed changes to policy JEC entitled Early Admission to Pre-Kindergarten, Kindergarten, and First Grade. All those in favor? All right, we have a unanimous vote, and the student member concurs. Our next action item is another second reading, this one of proposed changes to policy JIH, student search and seizure, arrest, and questioning on school property.
The Board of Education approved the first reading of proposed changes to policy JIH at its public business meeting on April 4th, 2023. The Policy Committee posted a notice on Board Docs and the school system's website seeking comments from the public on the proposed changes to the policy. The committee did receive comments, but is not recommending any further comments or changes. I would note, between the approval of the first read and today's second read, we discovered a typographical error in the section 2 background. The last sentence, the word maintain was omitted. This does not substantially alter or materially change any aspect of the contents of the policy. It actually makes that last sentence a complete sentence, whereas before it was not.
Thank you, Mrs. Ram. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve the second reading of proposed changes to policy JIH entitled Student Search and Seizure, Arrest, and Questioning on School Property.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Any questions, any discussion?
I would say the only comment we received was an email from a student who just expressed concern about canine searches in school, but also very well-written emails talking about his some of the struggles he's had with some of his friends with drug abuse. But he was also questioning the canine, and we both, Attorney Ram and I both responded to it.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Any other questions, discussion, comments? We'll move to the vote. We're voting to approve the second reading of proposed changes to policy JIH. All those in favor? All right, we have a unanimous vote. The student member concurs. Thank you, Mrs. Ram. Okay, we'll turn now to new business. Our first item of new business is this evening's consent agenda, and we have our supervisor of purchasing, Mr. Scott Bakedorf, here. Good evening.
Good evening, President Williams, members of the board, Dr. Sovine. Tonight I have 7 items for your review. These items have been reviewed by our Purchasing Review Committee and are being recommended for approval, and staff is available if you have any additional questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bakedorf. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve awards, renewals, and procurements of automatic temperature control replacement at Eastern Elementary School to Control Systems, Inc. at a cost of $396,300. Go Guardian Teacher Subscription License Renewal to CDWG at a cost not to exceed $115,390. Diagnostic and Interim Student Assessments Renewal to Centerpoint Education Solutions at a cost of $226,198.50. Google Enterprise Workspace Renewal to CDWG at an annual cost of $92,690 for 3 years. Hardwood floor refinishing, installation, maintenance, and repair service to Master Care Flooring, Inc., Wires Floor Service, Inc., and Miller Flooring Company at the unit prices listed. Teacher and administrative computer devices to CDWG at Apple, Inc. at the approximate unit prices listed, and roof replacement at Paramount Elementary School to Patuxent Roofing and Contracting, LLC, at a cost of $1,198,000.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Questions or any discussion?
Is that the first new roof on Paramount? Because that school was built in the middle 90s.
Yeah, I was surprised because I remember that school being built as a teenager.
It's been about 30 years.
Maybe a young, old teenager, but yeah, that is.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so I'm looking, probably have to ask Dr. Will to come up, or maybe even Dr. Webster, I don't know. But number 3, the interim assessments, I'm not necessarily against it. I think it's a good thing to have. My question is, what is the plan when we don't have these ESSER funds anymore? What's the plan to, are we going to continue purchasing this through general fund? Are we going to replace this with something else? Do we have a plan for that?
We do. We have a plan for all of our items that we're using grant funded. In most cases, it's eliminating something else. This platform is, if you remember, I think a month ago, we talked about MCAP data. And you, I think, asked the question, Mr. Evans. We have our own internal assessments that give us an idea of how students are performing. This is that system. And so the plan would be to, as we move forward with Blueprint, to eliminate something else to absorb that cost over into our operating budget.
I was just kind of wondering, and I didn't know if we had anything else that we could do this, or is there something we could do on our end to do this, or does this have other features other than just provide the test? Does it give us other information that is beneficial for the teachers and the students?
Correct. We demonstrated this at curriculum instruction last year. And so what it does, it really is twofold. One, we are buying the content, the assessment questions itself. And so we get all of the interim questions that go for math and English language arts. But it's also a platform where the students take the assessments in a secure manner that replicate what they might see on a state assessment. There's similarities in all of the reports. Teachers can see very quickly item analysis, how each student is performing, how each student is performing over time. Administrators have access to that. So you're not just seeing a assessment platform, you're also seeing the data system that goes with it.
More quickly than, because I guess my biggest concern is, I know when I was teaching, it's been a long time. When I was teaching, I mean, it was at least once a week, we had to take a whole day and just go test the kids. You know, and at some point, it just becomes overkill.
Yep.
I don't know if that's still a concern we hear about from teachers or anything, or.
I think we have there is a law that obviously we can't test for more than 2% of the entire school year. We're well under that. Historically, the 2 grade levels that we constantly keep an eye on are actually 5th and 8th grade, because there are additional state assessments in social studies and science in those grade levels. Sometimes high school as well. The assessments are designed to be completed in less than 2 class periods. So, and we use math and ELA over the course of 3 times throughout the year. And so that does, I think, make it more manageable. Of course, there's always going to be that preference if that's too much. But as you remember, as we've talked about with Blueprint, we are required to adjust instruction based on assessment results. And this is our internal assessment. Without this, all we would have potentially is MCAP results, and they come out once a year. So that's not really timely in order to adjust instruction.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move to the vote. We're voting to approve this evening's consent agenda as read by Mr. Bickford and as seconded by Mrs. Murray. All those in favor of approval? All right, we have a unanimous vote, and the student member concurs. Thank you, Mr. Bakewell.
Thank you.
We have concluded new business, so we're back to Dr. Savine's superintendent's report.
Yes, thank you, President Williams, members of the board. For the second half of my report this evening, I'm going to ask Ms. Sheila Evers, Executive Director of our Education Foundation at Washington County Public Schools, to share an update from our partner organization.
Good evening, President Williams, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Savine. How are you? I'm Sheila Evers, the Executive Director of the Education Foundation. And I just wanted to take some time to share some information. Let me figure out how to work the clicker first. About the Education Foundation. And there'll be questions, an opportunity to ask questions at the end. So the Education Foundation of WCPS was incorporated in 2009 to respond to the local need for increased community involvement and support for public education. The foundation's board of directors is comprised of parents, business and civic leaders, as well as WCPS staff. The foundation's mission exists to enhance education for all students by securing the resources to support innovative teaching and learning. The foundation serves as a catalyst for uniting the schools and their wider community. So, we're going to talk a little bit about our programs. The first program I'm going to talk about is our Super Readers program. Our Super Readers program assists struggling readers in area elementary schools through a proven structured literacy curriculum. The two curriculums that we currently use are Stepping Stones and Sound Partners. Volunteers work with elementary school students, providing much-needed support in early literary skills. Something that we did this year is partnered with the student apprenticeship program that WCPS was running because the programs were alike. And we have tried to support those students by sending them thank you notes, little treats, things like that. So there's over 40 student apprentices helping with this tutoring, about 20 plus community volunteers, and those are just volunteers from the community that we train, and they're helping over 200 elementary school students. Our next program is our Innovative Grants program. Just today, we had a meeting to decide which grants we were going to fund, and we will be funding over $30,000 in grants this year. To date, the foundation has given out over $245,000 in innovative grants. Innovative grants are project ideas by educators to do something innovative in their classroom. So the average grant size is $1,000. We do give out maxi grants once in a while, or depending on if there's a good project out there, in the amount of $5,000. Our next program that we run is our financial literacy program. We do a couple different programs within financial literacy, and our AVID schools, with the support of local mentors, we have a curriculum that helps students overcome the challenges of financial literacy and funding, empower them to apply and attend and graduate from college to reach their highest potential. Students learn about costs associated with life after high school. They develop a personal budget projecting tuition costs and living expenses, and identify sources of revenue. We also collaborated with the math and social studies departments to ensure state financial literacy standards are incorporated throughout our schools. And our newest and most exciting project is our Smart Spending Initiative. It's called the Smart Spending, it's a tongue twister, Smart Spending Spree. We're taking financial to the next level and out to the community. This is a student-centered, immersive experience that is designed to teach valuable monetary management skills pretty much at any grade level. We can tweak it for an elementary school, a middle school, or a high school. It's pretty much going and taking different stations, starting with a budget, playing a game of life, for lack of better words, and then the students choose decisions about if they want to eat macaroni and cheese or filet mignon every night, and then we sit down, come back, and see what that did to their budget, and an opportunity to discuss those decisions. Okay. One more program is our Equity in Education Scholarship Program. This was established through a partnership between HARC and WCPS. The foundation awards multiple scholarships ranging from $1,500 to $5,000 a year, with a preference given to African American students who reside in Washington County and are pursuing a degree in education or a related field. Scholarships are eligible for renewal until the degree is obtained. So once they start the scholarship program, if they're in a program, they're doing great, they're automatically renewed for the next year to reach their dreams of becoming a teacher, aspiring a teacher. Last year, we awarded $15,000 in scholarships, and this year we have 18 current applications, and we're in the process of reviewing those now. So that is, excuse me, the gist of our programs. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about some events and community things that we do. So last year we had our Chip In for Quality Education Golf Tournament. This is going to be an annual event. It is falling on Association Day, ensuring that our employees are going to be off because we do partner with Wellness, and any WCPS employee that plays in the tournament receives 50% off their registration fees. The wider community is also invited to play, so make sure you guys save the date. The upcoming tournament is on October 20th, and we always encourage corporate and business sponsors. We also support the Wellness WCPS Fun Run. This is usually an annual fun. That's a great day of wellness, and it's very well attended. The foundation always helps with planning the event, volunteering, providing volunteers for the event, and all donations from the 5K benefit the Education Foundation. One of our, in my opinion, greatest events is our ESP of the Year Award. This is also a partnership with WCPS. Of WCPS, basically to, celebrate and celebrate our ESP support employees. So that consists of the bus drivers, school meals staff, secretaries, paraprofessionals, and maintenance employees. And a lot of you attended that this year, so thank you for that. The foundation helps with planning of the event. We solicit sponsors, and we provide prizes for the finalists and the winners. So we just finished with our Spring Into Education donation drive. This is a partner with Horizon Goodwill that usually happens in March. Goodwill does an amazing job providing blue bins to all of the WCPS schools for collection of gently used donations. This past year, we had our largest drive ever. WCPS actually donated over 10,000 pounds of donations. Over the last 3 years, I finally totaled it up today, and we have collected about 45,000 pounds of donations. It's actually really 4 years, so the first year was just shoes, I believe, that we collected. The top 3 schools that collect the most pounds per student win the Education Foundation Goodwill Cup. They're starting to get really competitive about that. Even one principal said he was going to put rolls of coins in all of his pants pockets to try to win. So it's catching on. Right now, if you go to our website, all of the items with retail value, Goodwill puts on an online store, and they split those proceeds with us 50-50. So it's turning into a nice little fundraiser and helping out Goodwill in the community also. We do a Teacher Shout-Outs campaign. This is a way to support Teacher Appreciation Week, which is coming up May 8th to May 12th. We provide a way for families and students to send shout-outs to their teachers and thank them for all of their hard work. We post those messages on our social media pages. We have a Facebook account, Instagram, Twitter. And then each teacher that receives a shout out is entered into a raffle to win prizes that week. So something for the teachers to celebrate, and maybe for Teacher Appreciation Week, they get a nice gift card or a basket. And historically, we have about 150 plus messages that are sent out over that course of that week. So in closing, before you may have any questions, the foundation is a 501c nonprofit organization. We are tax exempt, and all donations made to the donation are tax deductible. As a private nonprofit organization, we are not funded by a government agency, and we rely on individual donations, grants, and fundraisers to support our budget. We are able to apply for private because of our status, private foundation grants and county funding due to our nonprofit status. Our mission is to enhance the education of students by supporting WCPS. As we continue to grow, we look forward to collaborating not only with you, and we so do appreciate all your past, present, and future support, but we also would like to partner more with our wider community on future projects that support our mission. Does anybody have any questions?
Mrs. Evers, I'd like to say that before becoming a board member, I worked as a central office administrator. And at the time the Education Foundation was established, I was afforded the opportunity to serve on the founding board and to see how this foundation has grown, has thrived. At that time, we were considering ourselves fortunate enough to give very small classroom grants to a number of teachers, very worthy teachers with very worthy projects in the school system. You have grown in the mission of the foundation, and you're doing such wonderful things. It's truly remarkable. As one who saw the seeds planted to see what you're doing, I just commend you and thank you for all you're doing. And you're truly supporting Washington County Public Schools. Thank you.
We have a lot of board members that are very supportive.
Thank you.
Mrs. Williams, I just want to say that I am familiar with your board because before Mr. Stauffer served on your board, I was a liaison and enjoyed it thoroughly. Everything you do is just wonderful. And could you please introduce your silent partner there and tell us what she does with the foundation?
So, hello, I'm Beth Moore. I am the current president of the Education Foundation and also a central office employee. I'm a lead teacher in the Office of Advanced Programs. And yes, the growth that we have experienced in my 11 years with the foundation is truly exciting and wonderful to, at this point now, be able to have a full-time employee to really spread our mission and work more closely with the greater community so that we can do more than in our classrooms to support our students.
President Williams, I just want to take this opportunity to extend my appreciation to the foundation. It is a wonderful partnership, and thank you for taking the time to highlight the many successes and the work of the foundation for our community.
I have a question. If a teacher wants to apply for a grant or something, do they check with you or what?
So the grant period for this year is currently closed. It just closed. Our awards will be coming out soon, but we're talking about possibly changing our timeline of that, so it may be open again sooner than later. But it is posted on our website. They can contact me directly.
We promote it via an email to all teachers so that when the applications are open, they are aware of what the process is, and it's a pretty straightforward, simple grant for them to share their ideas in terms of what it is that they would like to do that's innovative in terms of instruction within their classroom so that they can put that together, and then our committees review to determine the funds and the appropriateness of the requests.
I just want to say it's a very small group of people. About how many people attend the meetings? What are there, 12 of us, 13, 14, something like that?
Small and mighty.
Pardon me?
Small and mighty.
Yes, it is very small.
Always looking for
And so forth. The downside of it is the meetings are 7:30 in the morning, so that's the downside of it. The golf tournament, was that the first one you guys have done? That was great, really. You made some money at that. You just got to watch the superintendent. He brings in these ringers from other places to win the hole-in-one contest.
When it comes to golf, I'll take all the help I can get. Once again, thank you, and appreciate that update, and appreciate the support of our students and our teachers and our school system. As I mentioned, a wonderful, wonderful partnership, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
Continuing on, we have more reasons to celebrate this evening. Our English learner students and teachers have been working incredibly hard, and it certainly shows. WCPS has some of the highest numbers in the state when it comes to EL students being proficient in English and testing out of language services. Ms. Paula Moore, our supervisor of English for speakers of other languages and world languages, is going to share these exciting results.
Members of the board, President Williams and Dr. Sovine, buenas noches, bonsoir. Thank you for inviting me here tonight to talk about our English Learner Program and the performance of our English learners. All students who enroll in a Maryland school are required to complete a home language survey. And if the survey indicates frequent use of a language other than English, students' proficiency levels are assessed. Students in kindergarten through grade 12 who score a 1.0 through a 4.4 are admitted into the EL program, while students with a 4.5 or higher do not qualify for EL services. Every year between January and February, Maryland conducts English Language Proficiency Assessments, also known as ELPA, using the WIDA Access for ELLs test, which is also an MCAP assessment. Students in kindergarten through 12th grade are tested in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The Access for ELLs test assigns a score between a 1.0 and a 6.0. A 4.5 or higher indicates English proficiency, and students then exit the EL program. Maryland uses WIDA's English Language Development Standards, which correspond to grade level Maryland College and Career State Standards. WIDA is a consortium of U.S. states that develop English language proficiency standards, assessments, and professional development resources. All WCPS EL students are mainstreamed in content area classrooms, so ELs can simultaneously develop academic content skills and English language proficiency. Integrated push-in and co-teaching are the primary EL instructional model in our elementary schools. EL teachers and content teachers collaborate to provide language and content instruction, supporting ELs to access grade-level content and standards while developing their academic language skills in speaking, listening, reading, and writing through the WCPS Essential Curriculum. Secondary schools provide EL instruction during a designated class period so students can receive targeted language instruction. Some EL teachers and EL tutors push into content classes to provide additional support. Middle and high school students are grouped by language proficiency level into EL courses that include newcomer, beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and accelerated, High school EL courses also earn world language credits for graduation. Apparently I was too close, sorry. I need to take her on the road with me everywhere I go. Okay, so EL and student enrollment. Each year, the official EL enrollment in WCPS is reported to MSDE on October 31st. Over the past 5 years, enrollment has been steadily increasing, with a slight dip during the pandemic-impacted 2020-21 school year, a trend seen in many districts as well. However, enrollment has soared from 614 ELs in 2021 to 819 in October 31st, 2022, with enrollment continuing to rise even since October to now almost 920 ELs. And that was as of April 3rd. And in the last 15 days, we've probably also enrolled an additional 10, 15 students since then. In 2022, WCPS had a remarkable 33% increase in EL enrollment, which was nearly double the second highest increase seen in Allegheny and Wicomico counties. Garrett County saw a decrease of 30%, while nearly all other counties experienced growth rates ranging between 5% and 4%. WCPS ELs originate from 52 countries, with the United States and the Northern Triangle countries of El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala having the highest representation. Notably, the percentage of EL students born in the United States has decreased from 65% to 36% in recent years in Washington County, indicating a shift in our EL demographics and needs. An increase in immigrants born outside of the U.S. can sometimes mean an increase of ELs arriving with interrupted schooling, exposure to violence, trauma, war, and/or poverty. There is an impressive linguistic diversity among our ELs in WCPS, with approximately 36 different languages spoken, with Spanish being the most common, followed by French, Russian, Arabic, and Ukrainian. Students who have taken the Access for ELLs test in Maryland 2 or more times have EL proficiency growth targets that are set by the Maryland State Department of Education, and those standards must be met within 6 years. The Progress in Achieving English Language Proficiency, or ELP indicator on Maryland Report Card measures the performance of ELs who show meaningful growth toward or have attained English language proficiency on Access for ELLs. Schools earn points on Maryland Report Card for ELP, which contribute to star ratings, and then the points for the ELP are determined by the percentage of ELs achieving or making progress towards attaining proficiency. As you can see in the charts here, all WCPS ELs in every grade band met or exceeded Maryland's growth targets as reported on Maryland Report Card for 2017-2018, 2018 and 2019, and the 2021-2022 school years. Maryland did not report Access scores and ELP rates for 2 school years during the pandemic. In this chart, elementary continued to grow during all 3 reporting periods, while middle and high school averages decreased after the pandemic. The primary objective of the EL program is to achieve proficiency in English and exit the program, giving students a level playing field with their English-only peers. Students exit the program by achieving a 4.5 or higher on the Access for ELL's MCAP test. WCPS ranked second in the state with a 12.1% exit rate, surpassing the state average of 9.1%. Maryland even had less than 10% of a participation rate on Access in the 2020-2021 school year. But WCPS, we had a 97% participation rate, and that year during the actual pandemic was one of our all-time highest exit rates we've ever had, with a nearly 20% exit rate. During the 2019-2020 academic year, elementary English learners in WCPS performed well, ranking 4th in the state with 74% of students meeting the state target. In 2021-2022, the elementary ELs in WCPS showed significant improvement, ranking 2nd in the state with an impressive 84% of students meeting their MSDE growth target. 19 out of 22 counties, including WCPS, met their growth targets on Maryland Report Card for 2021-2022. In 2019 and 2020, WCPS middle schools performed well, with 58% of ELs meeting their growth targets and tying for 5th place in the state. Despite a decrease to 48% in the 2021-22 school year, WCPS improved their state ranking, moving up to the 3rd spot among all school districts in Maryland. And out of 22 districts, WCPS was only one of 2 that met their English learner proficiency targets on Maryland Report Card. In the 2019-2020 school year, high school ELs and WCPS achieved an impressive feat with 64% of students attaining their growth target, which ranked WCPS as second in the state. However, in 2021-2022, there was a decrease in the percentage of high school ELs achieving their growth rates. Nevertheless, WCPS not only regained their spot as the second best in the state, but moved up to the top spot with 55% of high school ELs attaining their MSDE accountability targets. WCPS's achievement was even more remarkable when compared to the other school districts in Maryland, with a margin of 17% above second place Howard County Public Schools. And out of 22 Maryland school districts, WCPS was only one of 4 counties that met its high school English learner proficiency targets on the Maryland report card. In fact, WCPS was the only district in the entire state that met elementary, middle, and high school MSDE growth targets. All of these accomplishments shared tonight are a testament to the hard work and dedication of our students, teachers, EL tutors, and administrators. Overall, WCPS's performance in the 2021-2022 academic year is a celebration and is evidence of the power of resilience, hard work, and high standards. I'd like to thank this Board of Education for your support for our ELs, because you made ELs a priority during the pandemic and had them be the first to return to in-person instruction. That personalized instruction made a difference to our ELs. Thank you so very much for your continued support and our resources.
And thank you, Mrs. Moore.
Dr. Savine, could I ask
Sure.
Supervisor
Yeah.
Moore a few questions? And first of all, I commend you and thank you for leading us in the success that the school system is having in having students achieve the meaningful growth towards becoming proficient speakers of English and exiting the program. Without question, we have among these students extremely bright, gifted, and talented students. And I would suspect that in many instances, these students are probably the people in their family unit who handle most of the communication, maybe are the most literate in the family. So my question is, how can we support these students and these families in navigating the school system and becoming aware of all of the opportunities that our English-speaking students are aware of, so that they can attain even greater success academically, socially, emotionally, so that they can then become an integral part of our community, ultimately? What more can we do? I know we have a welcome center. Do we need another welcome center? Do we need an expanded welcome center?
So I love this question, and I love thinking big. That is fabulous. And how can we move it forward? So first off, again, I want to congratulate and thank this board. With the help of Blueprint and funding and your support, we were able to get, I believe, 23 additional teachers for next school year. And we have a coach who will be helping the teachers in the classroom. You also supported an additional person to have 3 people working in the International Welcome Center and expanding. We're currently working on a partnership with Family Health Care of Hagerstown to have possibly a health navigator from the Family Health Center of Hagerstown to work at the International Welcome Center full-time to provide services such as health care, because they're new to the community. That could include dental care, mental health services, and most importantly, vaccinations, which is always a struggle when families are coming here from war-torn countries and they're coming here with very little. They often don't have their vaccination records, so they have to start the process all over again, and they need evidence of that. So they're working with us very closely to try to provide that, and by having a navigator help them understand the health care system, because that's so important. Maslow's triangle, we have to have those primary resources of safety and security in our homes. So I think that's very exciting. With the additional we're going to have an administrative assistant, there's a paraprofessional, and there's a teacher specialist at the International Welcome Center. And with those resources now, we have some big ideas to try to expand into the community to help make some connections. We've been working with community school partnerships, and I believe we have maybe, don't quote me on this, but maybe about 5 to 7 schools right now that are offering free adult ESL classes in collaboration with HCC. So HCC is teaching these classes in our schools. Our EL teachers and our EL students are part of the process. They're providing childcare, so that can help the families. In any of the schools, they can attend any of those. And I know that we have well over 100 parents, who are enrolled in these English classes. And that's been an exciting partnership that we've had the last 2 years. And I was just having a conversation with Mr. Malott in the back that we have some ideas up our sleeves too to try to help our parents even go further than just learning English, and perhaps giving them some skills to maybe take the paraprofessional praxis and possibly enrich our community and be employed with Washington County Public Schools. So that's the next thing. We would not be able to even think these things before this past year, knowing that you guys really approved and supported those extra resources. So now we can think bigger, and boy, does that excite me.
Thank you.
President Williams, as I opened, I shared that we had much to celebrate tonight, and as you just heard from Ms. Moore, I too want to thank you for your leadership, but impressive results, and thank you for highlighting how we are leading the way with English language learner results, so thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
For additional announcements this evening, we have a community meeting coming up next week on Monday, April the 24th. It will start at 6 p.m. in the auditorium at Springfield Middle School. As outlined in the Educational Facilities Master Plan, Fountain Rock Elementary School and Hickory Elementary School are anticipated to close in June of 2027. We will be building a new elementary school right here on the campus of the Center for Education Services. That's expected to open to students in August of 2027. We'd like to take the opportunity to share information with the community about the process to close these schools and some initial plans for the new school. It is also very important to receive feedback from the community as a part of the process as well. So again, that meeting will be held next week on Monday, April the 24th. It will be held in the auditorium at Springfield Middle School, and the meeting starts at 6 p.m. And finally, this evening, I would like to recognize Administrative Professionals Day, which is Wednesday, April the 26th this year. Our school secretaries and other administrative professionals are instrumental in helping our schools run smoothly. They are a friendly face and a kind voice to students, staff, and visitors. They are incredible organizers and masters of multitasking. These professionals are excellent at managing almost anything unexpected that comes up during the school day. And we're certainly grateful for their skills, talents, and contributions to our learning communities. President Williams, members of the board, that concludes my report and update tonight. I remain open for any questions or comments.
Thank you, Dr. Savine. Colleagues, any questions for Dr. Savine? Okay, we'll move to personnel action. We have Dr. Webster with us. Good evening, Dr. Webster.
Good evening, Mrs. Williams, members of the board, Dr. Savine. Earlier during closed session, you were presented with several staff changes for your review. At this time, we ask for your approval of today's personnel actions.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
President Williams, I move to approve the personnel actions dated Tuesday, April 18th, 2023, as presented in closed session.
Thank you, Mrs. Ari. Is there a second?
Second.
Bickford, thank you. Move to the vote. We're voting to approve personnel actions as discussed earlier in closed session. Those actions are dated today, Tuesday, April 18th, 2023. All those in favor? We have a unanimous vote. We have approved actions.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the reports to the board. This evening, we have a legislative briefing on the 2023 Maryland legislative session recently ended. Good evening, Mrs. Ersprung.
Good evening, President Williams, Dr. Savine, members of the board. As Mrs. Williams just indicated, we've arrived. Sine Die, which is the official end of the 90-day legislative session in Maryland, was on April 10th, and we survived. As you know, we tracked a little over 320 bills, and just under 80 of the bills we tracked passed this session. My written report has a chart that had all of the bills that passed with a little synopsis and MABE's position on them. In addition, I've added our position if the board took an official stance on the bill. And then I also gave a list of some, but not all of the bills we tracked that failed to move forward. I have some updates on some of the bills we previously discussed. First and foremost, no curriculum bills passed this session, including House Bill 119, which was the bill that started as a way to require the boards to implement the health guidelines and then morphed into something that would have been a complete state takeover of all curricular matters. That one did not make it out of the Senate. The Time to Care Act amendment bill, which we discussed previously, did pass. And just as a reminder, that delays implementation of the Time to Care Act until October 1st, 2024 for contributions and January 1st, 2026 for claims and benefits to be paid. It also sets the contribution amount at no more than 1.2% of an employee's wage, and the employer-employee split to pay that contribution is 50% each. The employer can choose to pay a larger percentage, but cannot require that the employee pay more than 50% of that amount. The Fair Wage Act, which was an initiative of Governor Moore, passed, and that accelerates the increase of the state minimum wage to $15 an hour, beginning on January 1st, 2024, whereas previously it would have been January 1st, 2025. The special education burden shifting bill that we previously discussed did not pass, but House Bill 1237, which permits a court to award expert witness fees in addition to attorney's fees to a parent who prevails in a special education hearing, did pass. So there could be some budgetary impact there. House Bill 78, which has the goal of reducing exposure to anaphylactic allergens in classrooms, common areas, obviously the lunchroom, that passed. Two of the health bills that we discussed previously did not. One was the telehealth bill, which would have required the board to implement policies and make a space available for students to engage in telehealth appointments during the school day. That one did not pass. And another bill that would have required that the schools stock bronchodilators, which are essentially rescue inhalers, for students who have asthma and may have an asthma attack, for them to use. That one also did not pass. House Bill 458, which is one that we supported with amendments, did pass. That's the one that increases the threshold amount that triggers approval from the state superintendent for construction projects. It increases it to $1 million from the current $350. Just a reminder, the bill, as it was introduced, increased it only to $500. It was our request, our amendment requested that it be increased to $1 million, and that is the number that they ended up using. The Educator Shortage Reduction Act, which was another one of the governor's initiatives, passed. That is multifaceted. There are a lot of different ideas and plans in there, but the long and short is that it's aimed at reducing the statewide teacher shortage, and hopeful that some of those plans do in fact work. And then finally, Senate Bill 610, which was the virtual schools bill, passed. It has three main goals. One is that it establishes guidelines for using virtual instruction during school closures for inclement weather. It has guidelines for creating a virtual school in the county, and then for the extended use of virtual schools during a prolonged closure, i.e. the next pandemic. Some of the bills that failed that we were tracking, House Bill 85, which is the collective bargaining bill that would have made class size a permissive topic of bargaining, did not move forward. House Bill 628, which would have funded free breakfast and lunch for all students regardless of income eligibility, failed. That's one that we supported, both with written testimony, and we had staff go down and provide oral testimony. This one had a lot of support in the General Assembly, but I think the price tag associated with it was just too high this year. So I'm hopeful this one will come back and see success in future sessions. And then Mr. Stauffer, House Bill 1114, which is the one that would eliminate current students from the group of individuals that can be charged with willfully disturbing the orderly operation of a school. That one passed, or that one failed, I'm sorry. Again, this is one that we see kind of year after year, so I anticipate we'll see this one again. Whether or not it will ever see success is, yet to be seen, but so far it has met resistance every time it's been presented. The Department of Legislative Services issued its 90-day report, which is just a summary of the session. It's broken down into some main sections, one of which is education. So I would encourage you to review that report. It gives a nice summary of the bills that passed that impact education specifically. So that's a good place to get a little rundown of what happened in the session and the impact it'll have on the school systems going forward. With that, I will conclude my report, but I'm happy to answer questions if anyone has one.
Any questions for Mrs. Ersprung? Comments?
I just want to say this. I just want to thank you and Jamie Brown for the fine work that you did following this session, creating testimony to present on certain of the bills and so forth. Having followed these things for a lot of years, we came out pretty well this year in terms of bills that got defeated in the General Assembly. Given the political makeup of it, we came out pretty well this year compared to other years. So it's very interesting. But they had some bills on there that were very dangerous. The curriculum bill started out very simply as a health thing, and then it just got expanded to being an everything. And it passed the House, but the Senate, they tell us, didn't have much of a taste for it, for those types of things. So it got defeated. That was a dangerous bill.
I also thank the members of the legislative response team. I think we worked well with staff and the superintendent, and we responded timely to emails in order to be able to get test nudges from Melissa. But we were good about getting testimony in on time, and thank you, Mrs. Ersprung, Jamie Brown, for the testimony that you labored over.
Well, it was our pleasure.
It was effective, and we appreciate that. So, thank you.
This was the first session that we did it in-house, so we didn't have our
I was
artist.
going to say, I think we proved a point. So I feel very good about what we were able to accomplish. So.
And also thanks needs to go out to John Willems at May for the fine work that he does. He is a very knowledgeable person, been there for years. He knows the people to go to. He knows how to talk to them and so forth. So they do a great job putting the word out, hey, get testimony in on this. This is when the House hearing or the hearings are going to be held and stuff. We need action on this right away.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Until next session. Okay, Okay, continuing with reports to the board, we'll have board member committee reports, and we'll start down there with Dr. Zetmeyer.
CNI will meet this Friday at Able at 1 o'clock.
Thank you. Facilities, Mr. Gessford?
Thank you, Mrs. Williams. Facilities met last week, and we went over quite a few items. The discussion of the Educational Facilities Master Plan took place. We talked about pupil generational rates. We have a couple closings. We talked about the Fountain Rock and Hickory school closings, the update to the committee. And then we went over the summer projects for the 2023 year. Just a few things I'll mention here. We have 14 flooring projects, parking lot improvements. I think a lot of it's just lining those roads, the parking lots. Environmental, we have 4 different projects, internal renovations, 3, health and safety, concrete work, exterior renovations, plumbing, refurbishing portables. I think we're looking at those. We have 2 of those projects. HVAC projects, lighting, building controls, landscaping, roof, and structure. So we got a lot planned for this summer. I have no doubt that these projects will get completed, that we have a good team. They've always come through, so I'm banking on that because I think they are already ready to go. So their plans are already lined up, and I think we got a good team that's going to put the effort to get everything started on time. So
Now all we need is the cooperation of the
There we
weather
go.
for the outside projects.
Yep.
We'll
So
be good.
they probably got plans to do inside if it rains and then go out. So they're pretty good on that.
Thank you, Mr. Gessford. Mr. Evans, Finance Committee?
Nothing new tonight.
All right, thank you. Human Resources?
Resources will meet Tuesday, May 9th at 10 a.m. in the board conference room.
Thank you. Mr. Bickford, Policy Review and Development?
Policy is meeting on the 27th at 1 p.m.
Student Government, Mrs. Cruz, do you have anything?
Washington County Association of Student Councils, we're having our last General Assembly of the year here at CES on April 24th.
You have a time?
9.
9 a.m.? Okay, thank you.
And the NABE Legislative Committee will meet next Monday for its final time, for its final update on the session.
Thank you very much. That concludes committee reports. We'll move to miscellaneous business. We have one item of miscellaneous business, and that is future agenda items. Excuse me, Mr. Gessford mentioned in his report the Educational Facilities Master Plan on May 16th. We will receive an update on that and work session. And we have for the earlier May meeting on May 2nd, we'll be looking at proposed changes to the academic year calendar. And that's a result of a change in the primary election date. So for those of you who are concerned about major changes to the academic calendar, don't worry. Also on May 2nd, we'll have a blueprint update regarding workforce development. So that's what's up and coming for May. If you have any other items that you would like to see on a future agenda, please let a member of the Agenda Planning Committee know. That would be Dr. Sovine, Dr. Webster, Dr. Willow, Mr. Stauffer, myself. We'd be happy to hear your suggestion and work to get it on a future agenda. That brings us to board member comments. Ms. Cruz, would you like to begin down there?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
All right, thank you. Mrs. Murray.
I had a nice visit at Eastern Elementary last Thursday with their school community liaison, Ivan Santiago, And I want to thank him for reaching out to me. I always enjoy visiting schools, and it was a very nice visit. And the other thing is, I'm really looking forward to the Teacher of the Year event tomorrow evening. I'm excited, and it's always a great event, so I can't wait.
Thank you. Mr. Bickford?
Same here. I was going to say I'm looking forward to Teacher of the Year. It's always a nice event, and good luck to everybody.
Mr. Stauffer?
Looking forward also to the Teacher of the Year event tomorrow night.
Mr. Guthrie?
Two things I find kind of funny on Facebook. One of the memes came up, and I love football, and it said, "Hold on, teachers, we're in the fourth quarter," and I thought that was kind of funny for the teachers. I'm sure they're thinking this is their fourth quarter, so hang in there, guys. And as we sit back and have a little dinner, May over there comes in tonight, and after many conversations of going to look at different schools. I'm not sure if she's ready to announce it, but she has finally made a selection, and congratulations on your selection. So I know she's been working hard and trying to find the school of her choice, and I think she's finally found it. So congratulations, May.
Thank you. I know Dr. Zentmeyer is very happy. I'm going to Maryland. So I told her, and she is very excited. So.
Yeah, I also went to visit schools, and I think it was last Thursday. Well, I didn't realize you were there the same day, Miss Murray. So anyway, Dr. Savine and I went to visit South High and Eastern Elementary. Mr. Gaiman and over at South High showed us around the whole school. I mean, that's a big school, so we were there for, an hour and a half, 2 hours. And, the main reason for the visit is because we hear an awful lot about those two schools and a lot of the behavioral problems. And, went around and the changes that are taking place, not were, but still are incredible over there at South High, and Mr. Gaiman and his team over there just have done a great job. I'm not saying that we're perfect. There's still quite a bit of work to be done, but it is night and day different from what I was hearing about last year compared to what I saw last Thursday. So I do commend the team over there and certainly encourage them to continue the good work. There's certainly still a lot of it to do, but I hope the teachers agree, and it seems like they do, because I don't recall hearing any complaints recently. So I think everyone is at the very least pleased with the direction we're moving. And the same thing over at Eastern, had Miss Bowman, assistant principal, show us around, and Mr. Fowler was at a meeting here and caught up with us at the tail end. And it's really special when we do get to meet the leaders of these schools. I say it very frequently that we do have the best staff in the state, and there's no question about that. And for them to go and take the time to drop what they're doing, to go and show me that, hey, we are moving in the right direction. I know I complain an awful lot, but the work that they're doing is incredible over there at Eastern as well. Again, it's just one of those things where it isn't a light switch that you flip, but the work they're doing is certainly moving us in the right direction. So I appreciate all their hard work, and I apologize for not getting a chance to talk to any of the teachers, but obviously it can't be done without them. So we appreciate them all.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Dr. Zentmeyer?
I recently viewed a TED Talk by Angela Lee Duckworth entitled "The Strongest Predictor for Success." Her research included a myriad of settings from West Point to schools, and concluded that the common factor for success is not good looks. Sorry, Daryl. It's not social. It's not social intelligence. Sorry, David. It's not even health or IQ. It's grit. That passion and perseverance, stamina for the long haul. She conducted a longitudinal grit study in Chicago schools and then hung around after they took their grit study to see who would graduate. And it echoed, the gritty graduated. Teaching kids that learning is not fixed, but can change with effort is something that we're all about. And I thank the teachers in our system for doing that. all kids discover when they study the brain, and I know this to be true when I was getting my RN and we studied the brain is malleable. And when we find out our failure isn't the end, but the beginning. Ask Edison, who failed 10,000 times before he created the light bulb. I don't know about you, but I sure am glad he had grit.
Thank you, Dr. Stepmeyer. I'm hoping my brain is still malleable. Colleagues, thank you for a great day of productive meetings. Looking forward to being with some of you and the superintendent and staff at tomorrow evening's Teacher of the Year banquet. I'm excited to see they're all winners, and they're all fine representatives of the wonderful teachers that we have in Washington County Public Schools. They're all Teacher of the Year in my eyes. They all do a fabulous job, so looking forward to that event. So if there's nothing further, we'll stand adjourned.